Live.
Liar. You don't just push it.
No, now we're going. Ready?
Let's do it.
Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks.
Way to hang it out there, Brian.
Wow.
That's what your AI is not going to do.
Yeah, way to let
That
it
gives me
rip.
vibes of Telemundo. Here we go, World Cup. Let's go.
Go!
Never short of the intro, Brian. Well done.
Yeah, well, I got to do something to keep my job. Otherwise, the AI is going to come and eat my lunch, Brian.
You just never know.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
you
know,
might get your-
I know what time it is.
One of these days, our digital twin will show up and we'll be out playing pickleball.
Yeah, well, that would be a better way to go, in fact, maybe. One day we should do a show from the pickleball court, like put mic up and play pickleball and talk at the same time.
Yeah, interviewing our guests on the other side is, yeah.
Yeah. Just to keep you posted, though,
The boot's still there.
coming off this week.
Oh, okay, good.
And it seems like I'm giving an update on my broken foot, but we haven't been here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I've been on the road.
Yeah, you've been out in the world, charming everybody and spreading the Silicon Valley Impact love.
Yeah, and in fact, our guests today, I've seen on panels, both have startup grind backgrounds that I've seen them on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went a few weeks ago to Long Beach and hosted the IIT conference.
IIT.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Big deal. I'm sure it was great.
It was.
Yeah.
Sashi Tripathi, who was on the show last year, he ran the show and just did a phenomenal job. So look him up, get connected with him, amazing individual, watch his show. We also did the Startup Grind conference last week. Amala, you were there, crushing it. Yeah, crushing the VC stage. And then Manan, who was also on the show today, he was on a panel I did, what was it, last month with Startup Grind?
Last month, and I was also at the conference last week.
Yeah, so got a lot to talk about, but it's good to see everybody. Good to see you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. It's nice to see you, too. It's nice to be back.
Yeah, and of course, I want to welcome everybody to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. That over there with the man getting the boot off this week is Brian Bernasconi. The purpose of this show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own.
You know, I was thinking, Brian, as I was wandering around the world, I think that should be like your blessing. Like when somebody says, "Oh, it's nice to meet you," and you say, "Nice to meet you too," within your own. Kind of like Spock says, "Live long and prosper."
Yeah,
when you leave people, you can be like within your own.
That kind of sounds like
That's deep.
I like that for you. It's great for you. I like that for
Maybe
you.
when somebody's criticizing you,
I like
when
that
he
for
says,
you.
"Hey, I'm not sure about that jacket, Brian," you're like, within your own.
There is something to
You
that.
do you. I'm good.
Brian, I can't tell you how much that resonates with me.
Oh,
in terms of saying like goodbye, it could be like a hell. It's like mahalo.
Yeah,
Right? It could be
No,
aloha.
you just be like, "Oh, within your own."
Within your own.
I like the
Within
namaste
your
that
own.
you did. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should get
Let's
T-shirts
play with
printed.
that. Within your own.
Right? Silicon Valley Impact within your own.
You're onto something.
Yeah, I these are the things I think about when I walk around.
TM.
Yeah.
Let's just trademark that right now. TM.
Wait a second.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yes, it does.
So that's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, let's get into it because, yes, we have been away for a couple weeks, but we're back again. Also, we're creeping upon our 100th episode. So, creeping up there. We're getting close. So stay tuned for announcements of who our guests will be. I'm sure it will be on par with all the amazing guests.
We're going to do a
we've had in
big
the
100th show celebration, like an extravaganza.
past. Possibly. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag now, but...
Impact Palooza.
You're on fire today. Are you chewing the NeuroGum today, Brian? Because
I don't even need NeuroGum. This is why. But you didn't bring it with you, did you?
No, I'm off. I'm off. I kicked it.
You did.
I had to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's intense. It seems intense.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, coffee seems intense to me. Because, I mean, I bring a lot of intensity on my own.
Okay. Within your own.
Okay. Within my... Oh, that's good.
Moving on.
Well played. Go ahead. Continue.
All right. So we're having a conversation today with two amazing individuals, and of course, in true Silicon Valley Impact fashion, I don't do bios, and so I will let these amazing individuals introduce themselves. But we have Mala and Manan. Good to see both of you.
Good to see you.
This is going to be.
Thank you for having us.
This is going to be fun. Yeah, this is going to be good. So, Mala, I'll start.
No fun allowed.
No
fun allowed.
Yeah, no fun allowed within your own. Mala, give a quick little intro of who you are to our audience and what you've been working on.
Sure. My name is Mala Ramakrishnan. I'm the founder and managing partner of Progressive Ventures. We invest in seed stage B2B SaaS AI-first companies. And I also run a nonprofit organization. It's called Founders Creative. Mm-hmm. The mission of the nonprofit is to have 50% representation by women in every room that matters.
Oh, good.
And
we're not doing a good job here.
And
that's true.
The crown jewel of it is a pre-accelerator where we take people from 0 to 1 and try and get them into seed ready.
Nice. And so we're going to unpack all of that because you're investing in up-and-coming companies. You're focusing on women. You've built an incredible community. So I'm really curious on how this is unfolded for you over the last few years, and ultimately, like, what got you into this. But we'll come back to that.
I didn't hear the mention of your podcast, Amala. Don't you also
I have
much
a very
more?
new podcast. It came through an investment, Roll AI, so shameless plug for them. They record studio quality videos on iPhones, and it's just that I was on stage so much, they said, well, every time you have a conversation, let's do a podcast. And that's how it was born. So I think we've maybe done 30 recordings so far.
Oh, nice.
Still very new.
What's it called?
Roll AI.
Got it.
And here's why I love what Mala is doing is I think the game of venture capital is changing, and the capacity to do what you're doing with community and bringing these other value adds is going to be the norm. I really believe that you see it more and more, and those are where that's how the hot companies find you. I mean, you sat in front of the VC stage and spoke. That place was packed.
I know. 2 of our accelerator companies were in that audience, and they pitched on your stage.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you're doing it right. And we're going to talk more about your podcast, what you're working on, how you got into that. But Manan, good to see you, man. You're doing some of the similar stuff, sitting on panels. We were on a panel together with Startup Grind a month ago, but loved how you were approaching the investment game. So give our audience a little intro on what you're working on.
Thank you, Brian. So Manan Mehta, I'm the founding partner of a firm called Unshackled Ventures. Been around for 11 years, and the thesis is very simple. It's to help technical immigrant founders start their companies and build in America. So for the last 11 years, we've raised 3 funds. We've invested in 110 companies, typically investing before the founders even incorporate. We've done 300 immigration filings alongside that. And the whole idea is if we can retain the best talent here, they'll build here.
I love it. And again, both of you are really going after and supporting underrepresented communities, which I think is phenomenal. So I think, again, the premise in which Silicon Valley Impact was built was finding those investors and those founders and those subject matter experts whose heart is in the game first. And you two really represent that. And so I'm so honored to have both of you here. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I just don't know where to start because, number one, my guests are super cool, which both of you are. And so it's fun to talk to you about what you've been working on and where you're going with this. But let's start in the beginning, like I always love doing. So Mala, what got you into this? Where was really the genesis? Did you grow up in an entrepreneurship family? Was it really a group of friends? What was kind of that journey?
Yeah. Well, I came to the United States with a $50,000 student loan from a very academic family, all PhDs in agricultural sciences, economics, so no entrepreneurship. And I came to Stanford University for the graduate program in computer science. 9 months in, I had made a couple of friends, much like you were born and raised here, I'm guessing, so people like him. And together we wrote a business plan that got first place from Garage Ventures. I got a $50,000 cash award, and we got $1 million in funding. I was 22 years old.
Guy Kawasaki and Bill Reichert, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And funnily, I bumped into Bill Reichert recently.
Wow, small world. He's been on the show, by the way.
Okay, yeah, and it changed who I was, right? And so I want to do the same for others. So I was a co-founder and CTO. We sold that company to BMC. Mm-hmm. Second company I started through Stanford Research Institute's venture arm. And then the third one was through a $1.6 million customer contract from Dish Networks. We took AT&T live in 2024, and then I exit So every single time I built wealth, and I've never seen women get funded the way I have, even if it was not like, massive billions. And I think that's important that someone steps up and writes those checks who understands the woman's perspective of being a founder. And even just standing up and saying, hey, I did it, makes other women say, hey, if she could do it, maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
And I said, that's important work, and that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I love it. So 3 companies.
3 companies, but I have worked in bigger companies in between. So I've gone back and forth and realized this is the most fulfilling way in which you can, express yourself in the world, especially in technology. And I was in grad school the same time as Sergey Brin and Larry Page, and I thought they were my peers and counterparts. I didn't think they were anything different. And so that just puts me, people may think that I'm overly optimistic on who I am, to put it softly. But I think that's how people should view themselves. Not just women, but men, and everybody should think they have the potential and capability to excel and exceed Sergey Brin or Larry Page. And if you can carry that mindset, it will take you places and you will grow. And I want that for the others. So yeah.
There's a sense of humility in that. I mean, because people can inflate themselves. But yet to think big and be humble, I really think gives you a unique perspective in the world. Because you can empathize with people who may be overinflated and kind of specialists in their space, but at the same time, what's holding others back? And that richness of empathy and perspective taking, I think is unique in those who build, because they know where the pain is, and then they look to serve.
Yeah, and the world will hold you back. So it's okay. You can just, think highly of yourself and just strive continuously. I say start a new company every year. If you fail, just start once more and again, as long as you're alive, and you'll hit it.
I love it. That's such good stuff. Okay, we're going to dive into that. And Manan, you and I work, I wanted to geek out with you when I first met you about I know I keep saying quadrants, right? But you know what I'm talking about. But same questions for you. What got you into this in the beginning?
Yeah, and in so many ways, my love story is why I do what I do, right? It's that self-belief. It's the impenetrable desire to do something bigger, to leave the comfort of your familiar life and go somewhere that in many ways you're an alien, right? You are an outsider. And so for me, the reason why I started Unshackled was I can go back to the 80s and remember when I was the token Indian kid in Silicon Valley, right? I was very prototypical in many ways, good at math, good at science. That was where I had my expectations being met, right? But I was also born with athletic ability. And so my whole life, I was always the only Indian kid playing sports. I was good enough to always be the one that was the captain. And so something from even 4th grade, I'd always pick people first that would typically be picked last. Because what I saw was the opportunity to bring people along and bet on their self-belief. And so much of what I do as I fast forward to high school, where my high school high school baseball coach, his nickname for me was Bombay, right? And so there's so many pattern matches that were happening around me, and I had to push through it. And so when I went to college, I tried out for the UCLA baseball program, didn't make it, right? And I overheard a head coach ask another coach when he saw me, I overheard this. He asked, hey, where's that kid's flat stick? Where's my cricket bat?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, this is in early 2000s. And so you log these memories, you remember them a little bit, and you don't know what to make of it, but it puts a chip on your shoulder. And so you fast forward, I get 2 degrees, I join a dance team, win a national title doing that. That was fun. And then I started working in the professional world. And along the way, I wanted to start a company. I wanted to start a company with an immigrant who I had gotten to know, who I didn't realize because of his visa, his H-1B visa, he couldn't quit his job. I could quit. I went full time. I was afforded the ability to start a company. He couldn't. And I went around to Sand Hill, went to a lot of VCs. Again, being born and raised here, I know a lot of these people. And I started asking them, hey, look, if we raise enough money, I can sponsor his visa. You know what I heard back from people? Don't the best immigrants find a way? It reminded me a lot of what I heard of the baseball diamond years before. You should have a flat stick. So people unintentionally put a lot of familiarity tax on things and then don't bet on it. And so that was my impetus to say, well, maybe I'm the guy. maybe I'm the guy who should bet on people before anyone else can see them, make them legible, and then help them go where they want to go. And so 11 years ago, when it wasn't very obvious to the world that immigrants were facing challenges to start a company, I saw it. Right? I saw it with my co-founder at the time, and we've been building ever since. So for me, my personal why is really, it's caught in my history, right? That 8-year-old memory of being told I can't do that in sports. The high school coach telling me I should be named after a city of 40 million people. Or the college coach saying, where's your flat stick? I love when people have those pattern matches, because all that means is I can get more curious and I'll find my alpha, right? So that's why I do what I do. And I feel very fortunate to be in Silicon Valley to do it, because I think that's the original culture of VC. I've kind of lost it a little bit lately, but we'll talk about that. But I just feel very fortunate to do what I do.
I love it. And so I got to ask the question, I mean, there's so much good stuff there, but what happened with the company? Did you built the company, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, we started it, but my co-founder couldn't go full time. And so that really what it did was it opened up my eyes to something bigger, right? If you go to any co-working space, nights and weekends, it is distinctively immigrant, right? The food in the microwave doesn't smell like American food, it smells like ethnic food, right? Because there's a lot of people who are on work visas, student visas, that are now trying to moonlight their way through it. Those are the people, it's why I do the job, right? Those are the people that I want to fund, because if you can accelerate them, they'll compete.
Oh, that's so good. A lot of good stuff there. And so you had the early experiences that kind of shaped you. And Mal, I want to kind of bounce back, because it sounds like you had a lot of support around you. You raised in a supportive family that said, hey, look, go to the U.S.
Well, they were very supportive, but none of the women were allowed to work or even go to college in my ancestry, including my own mother. And so there was a lot of push. I'm one of 3 daughters. I'm the youngest of 3. And so there's a lot of push to just get us out of the country so that we would be very far away from people who didn't want us to be educated and working. And so it was almost like a unwritten law in the house. At 18, you're going to leave the house, you're going to get a 4-year degree, and then when you're 21, you better leave the country. There's a lot of pressure, yeah. And so it was a good thing for us. I mean, it kept me, motivated and aligned towards where I am sitting right now.
Yeah.
But even today, you look at the world. I mean, we're 50% of the population. I mean, if you close your eyes, no matter who you are, and think of your ancestry, women make up 50% of your ancestry, and we're 50% of the population no matter where we go. Less than 2% of funding goes to women. So few of us write checks. We never build the wealth that you're seeing around us in the Valley.
There's been a push for that and from that perspective over the last year.
We hear it in here.
Yeah,
I mean, we have guests in here who say this, but I don't know that that's having a sort of tidal wave of impact yet.
It is. The challenge is, as a result of that, people are starting a lot of companies, and women in general build more businesses than men do. It's just that they don't know how to think big, right? And so we don't start venture scale businesses, and so we won't get funded, and we won't go public. If you flood the market with venture scale businesses started by women, no one's going to say no to you, which is why people didn't say no to me. I land up teaming with the right men. So I tell my women founders, find men, team with them. They're getting funded. And think big, right? Get to $100 million in revenues in 5 to 7 years. No one's going to say no to you, right? You got to go crazy and knock on doors in order to raise money, or you go crazy and knock on doors and get customer money. And customer money is easier to come by for women because we work hard, we're diligent, right? We deliver. Customers love that. So go after customer money and get your $1 million and then go get funded. And I think that's the narrative that needs to shift for all these people who are doing work where they're trying to get more women to step up and get funded. And that's the point of Founders Creative. 50%. We're not going to make it 100%. It's not going to be a bunch of women getting in a room and saying, what can we change? We're going to have 50% men in the room saying, how can we support you? And what can I change? Because I have a daughter, I have a sister, I have a mother, I have a wife. And it's working beautifully. Majority of our volunteers, more than 50% of them are men. And these are executives in the top companies sitting here in Silicon Valley who dedicate their time in mentorship, sponsorship, but also teaming up with these women in the early phase for the first 12 weeks to help them start companies. And then we kind of let them loose.
I love that. And then Manan, after this next question I ask Mala, I want you to kind of chime in because you'll see where I'm going with this. So Mala, I got to ask you get these incredibly supportive men in the room. You get these incredibly driven women in the room. What I'm gonna ask one question from both perspectives. The first perspective is externally, what do women need in order to move the needle, right? Because we've been hearing this 2% for a while now, and I think maybe not in the world, but in Silicon Valley, there's been a lot of eyes on supporting women. So those of you listening out there, there is a strong movement in supporting women. So those of you on the other side of the world, or even the other side of the country, it's happening. Be the voice and supporter where you are. So let me say that. So what is it externally that you see where people could be supportive towards women? And then what is the internal thing that women need to do to make a shift and say, yes, I can go after that $20 million, $200 million venture and scale this globally?
Externally, it's exactly what you've done. Say, come on my podcast, I'll give you a seat, and you made me sit in the middle. That's what men need to do, right? Just look at a person and say, what is her worth by the value of her word and not by her gender? And let's give her a chance, and let's see how she does. And if you do enough of that, I think many women would step up. But naturally, there is this, just like he was saying, when you look at an immigrant, you're thinking, flat stick or whatever, right? It just happens that when you look at a woman, maybe you're not thinking the things that you would when you see a man. And so maybe you want to, very consciously change the way you're approaching things, which might be only a man would understand. I don't know what the perspective is. Maybe you're looking at me thinking, oh, mom, older woman, I don't know what you're thinking, but maybe you want to be conscious of what you're thinking and drop it.
So be aware of our own biases.
Be aware of your own biases. And all of us have biases. I'm sure I have biases as well, right? And then from the women's perspective, I think this is our time. Just like you're saying, Silicon Valley is opening things up. What is holding us back? I mean, no one's going to treat me any differently than any of you men in this room today and get away with it by the law. So this is my chance to step up and lead, and why wouldn't I do it, right? And so that's exactly what I think women need to do, and they're not doing enough of that. And I'm going to put that on the shoulders of the women. There just aren't enough older women, experienced women, all kinds of women standing up, because that's when we're going to change the world. If you don't have the experience of building venture scale businesses for somebody else, you don't know what that feels like. And so a lot of the people who start businesses are too young without the experience. At least in the least, step up and coach them, mentor them, be them, and then it would change. So many of our founders are in their 40s and they're women. And I think it's perfect. That's a great age to start, because you've already worked for a couple of decades, worked for others. You've seen what it's like. Now when you make decisions, it's from a space of experience, and you can actually build things that will change the world.
I love it. So I'm going to come back to this because my curiosity is in how you've built community around this, right? Like really where that began, what you were going with it, kind of like what the value add is for VCs to build this community, because you and I are going to geek out on that. But I think this is a perfect opportunity, Manan, to chime in where you and I were geeking out a couple of months ago or last month. You talk about the importance of the quadrants. Do I keep saying quadrant?
You do. It's okay.
All right.
We'll get there.
But there's this idea of EQ that you take a look at. And when we're evaluating startups and the founder, is there a founder fit? Is this somebody worth investing in? You had mentioned on the panel that you look at 4 different things: EQ, AQ, IQ, and EQ. Did I get those right? SQ. SQ. Okay. Unpack that a little bit in light of this question of what could we be doing better as individuals to grow and advance our venture?
So I'll actually dovetail back to what Mala was talking about and answer your question as well. One of the biggest opportunities I think we have as an industry is to replace pattern recognition with pattern curiosity, right? At the very core component of this valley loves to celebrate the garage startup, the one that broke the mold.
Yeah.
But then as a consequence of that, we try to replicate that story over and over again and fund those people. But in reality, they're not the ones that ultimately make us all change zip codes, right?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Right. And so how do we, if you have the luxury and the privilege of being the first investor, you have the luxury of discovery, right? And that is I call it a luxury because I love the idea of learning, right? The moment I have a judgment, I'm no longer curious and I'm passing it, right? I always tell people the highest form of intellect is curiosity, not fact. And the only thing unassailably true about any one situation is how they felt. right? So how you feel right now is something that I can't debate you about. So I asked myself, investing is that, right? We rationalize everything that we feel we like or don't like. We get intellectual. I'll argue about how the market is too small, how that's not a big enough, customer size, it's too concentrated. You'll find all the reasons, but you're really just reacting to how you felt.
Yeah.
And so the reason why about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I found myself telling people, oh, I just feel this is the right founder. That is the worst thing to tell your team. Right? That effectively tells them to shut up and listen to you.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to speak because I said I feel good about this. Well, what that really is intuition. So how do you codify, how do you share, build a language around intuition? Because we all have it. And that's the quotients framework, right? So when we think about evaluating any immigrant entrepreneur at day zero, we realize there's 4 quotients that we're typically looking at: IQ, intelligence; AQ, adversity; EQ, emotional; and SQ, social. The reason why we do that is you and I and Mala, we all might feel differently about the founder we're talking to. But following a founder pitch or a conversation, we will all score the founder based on how we felt. You may have scored somebody an 8 on EQ. I gave him a 4. The conversation that then emerges from there is not so much defending your 8 or your 4, but it's, hey, what did you pick up on that I missed? Or what are you feeling today that made you give him an 8? And what did I bring to work today that made me give him a 4? Maybe I got in a fight with my kids. There's stuff that happens every day around our lives that affects how we then receive what's in front of us. How do we have honesty about that? And then how do we use that to then go, all right, we scored this founder on those 4 quotients. Do you want to learn more or not? That's the only litmus test question. If you do, we then have written series of questions on those 4 quotients to get more curious. And this is how you learn how the immigrant founder at 8 years old was already building satellites, because they probably didn't tell me about that in their pitch, because they're so attuned to telling you what they want to do next and not validating their past. But at the end of the day, we use the quotients to measure the present, right? We use the frameworks and their archetypes to measure the future. And then we use questioning to understand their past, because that's what we're underwriting, right? We're understanding the past of their own life. And so these quotients allow me to get beyond the pattern recognition and ultimately towards pattern curiosity.
And you just kind of go around the horn on each of those quotients that give you that insight.
It ends up being a conversation. Like right now, you're both feeling something about me, right? Maybe an IQ, an EQ, SQ, and AQ. I'm not talking much about AQ right now, so you might want to know more, right? What's my adversity tolerance, right? What's my willingness to handle challenging situations? Those are questions you may want to know about a founder. But right now, you're probably quickly measuring me on IQ, EQ, and SQ. And that how you feel is truth. Whether you give me a 10 or a 4, it doesn't matter. It's your truth. And how do you create an investment committee, an investment process where people speak truth and not be fearful about me saying, I just feel good about it?
Oh, that's so good. Brian.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean.
No, I'm leaned way in. I think this is great. And I'm thinking that a lot of people maybe haven't heard this exactly sort of sorted out into 4 categories. And the extra 2 that we aren't accustomed to hearing, I think, are equally important.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm happy to be hearing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Do you want to let the little friend in?
Is this the little friend?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought you wanted to hear my opinion about
little friend.
I just thought you were just interested in me hearing and learning from the conversation.
Well, of course I am.
All right, so
I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome.
what you want to be, what you want to hear about, I think, is Morales HR. Is that right?
Tell us more.
And I was going to bring it up on my screen here, and there it is for people that are watching on YouTube, which we never talked about. But in case you are, there's a little graphic on the screen.
And
but
I
it's
have it on my shirt. You like my new swag? Look at the they sent me.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Yes, huh?
Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get you back on there, Brian. Hold on. There. One more time, please.
Okay,
Flash that for us.
Yeah, there you go.
That's who we're talking about is Morales HR.
Tell them more, Brian.
Morales HR is the staffing company that you want to be talking to, right? They're the Listen, talent is your biggest competitive edge.
Yes, it
you know
is.
this. Everybody here knows this. And what we're talking about here is Morales HR. They're a human-centered executive search firm for today's business demands. It's full-time to contract roles through North America, all the way across the country. And they are finding you the talent that you want and that you need today. They're going to help you avoid fake resumes and fake candidates. And so if you are in need of talent, if you're in need of hiring right now, Morales HR is the place to go. If you're feeling behind, if you're frustrated with low quality candidates, you are going to want to go to Morales HR. There it is again for the people that are watching on YouTube, moraleshr.com. That is the place to be. Go there now, and you will be glad you did. Okay. How did I do? I felt like I stumbled just a little bit. Hey, Shelly, I'm sorry.
Shelly's very forgiving.
Shelly's very forgiving. I think I still nailed it, but I stumbled just a little bit.
She's very forgiving, but the wrong hire is not. So
Oh my
see what I did
gosh.
there?
Wow, that should be their tagline.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, I'll stick to my day job. All right.
How can I impact the world with this?
All right. Okay. Well, we're having a good. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that.
Yeah, my
and
pleasure.
Again, thanks, Morales HR. All right. So we're having a great conversation with Mala and Manan. We're diving deep into what is important in terms of supporting those who may be marginalized. They've taken this on for themselves and done it in a very unique way. And before we went to break, I had mentioned to Mala that I wanted to talk a little bit how you built your community. Why go this route? Because it can be very exhausting. It could be a time suck to make sure that, the community is taken care of. Why not just focus, on the fund, find the best companies? Why the extra lift? Why was this important for you to do?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to it. One is it wasn't intentional. It happened organically. It started well before I started my venture firm. I was just trying to get myself on stage because I was a founder of a company and I was having trouble doing it. I was flying all the way from Amsterdam to, New York and Vegas and trying to get myself on stage just to get customer traction and really hard, sharp elbows.
Yeah.
And so my co-founder said, why don't you just create your own platform? And we said, let's do it. So that's what we did. We started at Berkeley, actually, at SkyDeck. And then we just said, let's do an event a month and see what happens. And it just slowly started catching on.
Is that the Cardinal working at Cal? Is that what happened there?
The
Cardinal.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The Cardinal with the at Cal. And I have a Cal degree, so now I'm a Cal with a Cardinal heart.
Oh, wow. That's got to be an ongoing internal
I'm a
conflict for
UCLA
you.
Bruin, so this is all getting fun. Here we go.
Yeah, and so that slowly built up over time. And the mission has always been let's get equal number of women on stage. And then at one of them that was sponsored by Microsoft, I had a few hundred people show up, which was astounding for me. I was like, why would a few hundred people show up for this thing that I'm going to, what is this thing? So I said, well, maybe we put up saying, would you start a company through me? And we had 100 people respond saying yes. And I said, would you pay for it? And they said, yes, we'd pay for it. So I was like, okay, maybe we're onto something. We should help people start companies. And that's how the accelerator was born. And then we incorporated the nonprofit. And it's just been growing steadily. We have at least 100 new people join every month.
Oh, wow.
So we don't do a lot of aggressive marketing and events. I have 2 boys, teenagers, who come home at 3:00. And so I don't go to San Francisco often. You'll see me declining events.
Yeah.
So it's just been organically growing every time we hold events. And why is this important? Because if you're a venture capitalist investing money, you have to show returns on your fund. You can't just write checks because you want to level the playing field for women. And I don't think women are starting enough venture scale businesses. So then you need an effort that is independent of venture capital, that's going to support people to start companies and teach them what venture scale means. And there's so much to it. It's not just saying, okay, this is how we define it, it's 100 million in 5 to 7 years. They have to feel it when they're building the company in that industry with that product, with that ideal customer profile, at the seed stage, at the Series A stage, at every possible stage, right? And venture capital can't do it. I think it'll be we'll lose money on it if that's the only way we do it. And I'm an LP in 8 funds, and I've invested in women-only funds as well. I just don't believe that that's the way to do it, where you can get outsized returns on money and say, I'm going to invest in all women teams. That's not my approach, because the world is still very male centric. So I'm going to absolutely invest in men so that I can make money on my fund, and slowly bridge that gap through the nonprofit organization by streaming in venture scale businesses started by women. Does it help? Yeah.
This is what I love about Mala and Manan is you as well. And a lot of people who come through this door is that, money is a part of the game. It's like the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But the message that a lot of you come in here with of what you would want, how you want to impact the world is what is so powerful. So you really built this community out of a shared message, looking to find people who are like you. You just are a few steps ahead, and you're looking just to go back and cut a quicker path for others.
That's right. Yeah. It's just that when you step up, others say, oh, looks like I can be like her. So why not me? And I'm like, absolutely. Come on, sit next to me. Let's try it out.
Now, we all have this in common. And Manan, you were talking, and you, Mala, were talking about this. You guys both have the podcast. And so, Manan, tell us a little bit about what got you into sharing this message and bringing in more people and putting the attention on immigrant founders.
Yeah, so the podcast is titled Believe in Aliens. And it's hinged on the idea that anyone who leaves their hometown is an alien where they go next. Mm-hmm. Certainly that can be across borders. This country certainly uses the term aliens for immigrants. But what it talks about really and explores is, where does that self-belief come from, right? Did you grow up in a part of a town where you only had 2 hours of reliable energy every day? And when that went from 2 to 4 hours to 8 hours, why is that informing today why you're building something around long duration energy storage? Mm-hmm. Like, why do you have a feature in the Wall Street Journal, right? Already live with Whirlpool, because something happened way back when that informed your gift today in the world. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to explore is, everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story towards self-belief. And this is a podcast where you learn, I get to publish what I've learned about a founder and why I underwrote them, or about somebody really famous that you might knew that crossed this abyss, that crossed this threshold. It's almost like the hero's journey. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Every immigrant or every person who leaves their hometown ends up having to go on some version of that hero's journey. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell that story because I think that's what unites us. I think we all share a lot more of those things. And if you can celebrate them, then it goes back to what Mala was saying. I think more people start companies. Yeah. I think we're inherently creators.
Yeah. And I said this during your panel when you and I first met. The Startup Grind event was focused on immigrants, and Ethyca, who Mala, in fact, Brian, you didn't know this, but we were talking about this out front. She's actually been in the studio. Mala's been in the studio before.
Oh, with Ethyca's podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's great. I mean, she's done so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured you guys must know each other. I mean, it seems like a direct link.
Yep. So she asked me to also MC her event at Plug and Play last month. Were you at that event as well?
I didn't know.
So she did a great event focused on immigrants as well. And I say all that to say this is, in both instances, when at Plug and Play and also when you and I were together, Manan, is that I said, we're in a global economy, and we have for a while now. However, with things moving so fast, we are all going to be immigrants at some point in scaling our businesses. Mm-hmm. So who better, if you're in the US, who better, especially in Silicon Valley, to listen and learn from than immigrant founders who've come into the US and found a way? I mean,
look, here's a simple question. You know what immigrants are great at doing? Building shit.
Building,
right?
Yeah.
They build, right? If you look at the history of the United States, even the last 60 years, there's been only one person that's manufactured in this country, Elon Musk. Everything else we outsourced, right? Whether it's semiconductor chips, whether it's automotive industry, right? Batteries, it's not happening here. Right? I think we lost our way a little bit in thinking that inventing things was enough. But if you can't manufacture and scale it, you're not really doing the full technology stack. Mm-hmm. And I think we're at a moment in time that consequence, the last 30, 40 years, is rearing its ugly head in geopolitics. Mm-hmm. And so I think about what are our national advantages? Immigrants, right? When you go back to Operation Paperclip post-World War II, right? We brought thousands of immigrants in so we can compete with the world. What are we doing now? Are we doing that again? I mean, even politics aside, the best pathway to a competitive country is by not just inventing, but by manufacturing and creating jobs. Whether they're old-time jobs or new jobs, we have to create it. And so it's not surprising that nearly 70% of AI founders are immigrants. Right? Who's with them right away? Who's investing in them? Right? Can we do more? And that's what I ask about all the time. Like, this is not a concessionary strategy. Right? Immigrants don't leave their home country to get, be average. Right? When I look across the fund in the last quarter, we had a company go public. Another one do 75x in 10 months. Right? Another one had Fortress and Stepstone come in on a merger. And then another one ultimately got Blackstone on their cap table. All announced. All immigrants that we backed first. So I love what Mala was saying. Like, this is not about just doing good. It's about doing well. Right? Mala didn't come to the country to just be average. She didn't go to Stanford to be average. Right? She can be an LP today because she was talking about this in the beginning, wealth accumulation. That takes knowing the game. And that's the SQ.
Yeah.
Right? That's the social quotient I think about a lot, is can you play the game?
Well, I think the intellectual capacity to play the game isn't as high as it used to be. Meaning, like, your access to information is a lot easier nowadays. I think what you're talking about is all these other quotients that are powerful come together and make the person great. And what I've seen from immigrants is they have this character, the adversity quotient, right, that you talk about, that has them building, being resourceful, but most importantly, and Molly, you talked about this earlier, I believe, there's also this element of gratitude and humility. And so the qualities are well defined, and the human, not only there's the intellect is high, but this drive, right, this humility, this resourcefulness is extremely high. And I think if you're, born here, you kind of live in the fishbowl, and the fish is always the last one to know it lives in water, right? And so you see, the lifeblood that's necessary to grow, and you come here and you're grateful for what you get to swim in, and you utilize it a lot better than the people who are born here.
Well, I mean, think
Were you born here?
I was born here.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about really the most kind of foundational component of this is when an immigrant comes here, or really anyone that's trying to break out, the consequence of being wrong or bad is it's terrible, right? It's go big or go home. Like, that's the stakes. So you naturally have a self-selection of people who want to take on those stakes, right? And I think this is why we can sometimes get a little muddied in saying the word immigrant and making it feel like it's a philanthropic, a kind-hearted thing to do. But really, it's inextricably linked with this country's success. The quarter, 250 years plus, the most recent periods. The immigrant entrepreneur is something that has never been a population that has under-delivered. 15.4% of the population, but they have $1 trillion of GDP added.
Yeah.
50% of all the patents, 15.4%. Twice likely to start businesses, right? That is important. And then I'll say one more thing. Our fund has about 25% of the founders are women. Immigrant women. You talk a lot about glass ceiling in this country. In other countries, it's a concrete ceiling.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful you're saying that.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize that. And that's the reason why women need to step up here, and nowhere else in the world can they do this. And men are so supportive here. It's unbelievable. White men.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not do it?
Right.
So let me ask you this question just before, I mean, maybe I'm overthinking this, but if you're investing in 25% or 25% of your fund is devoted to women, how can women better position themselves? Because maybe they're like you were saying, Mala, they're just kind of not leaning into it quietly yet. But how do they inch forward mentally, and then literally, how do they get in front of the right people?
I mean, look, as a percent of immigrants in this country, women are much smaller, right? A lot of high-skilled immigration that women come in is through marriage. They have H-4 EADs. It is not the same pipeline in volume as men.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? So we have to recognize that. That said, the reality is if you stay curious And you don't judge a book by its cover. If you don't look at pattern recognition, you might give yourself a chance to find an outlier. Right? And that's all I care about. I don't think about, candidly, women, what country you're from. Whether you're a Turkmenistan founder or a Canadian, yes, Canadians are immigrants, right? We have to remind people of that. Or you're Indian. My job is to be curious, to learn why you believe in yourself, and then underwrite it, write a check. And what do? I'm probably going to shrink my population of founders. My average post-money entry valuation is under $5 million. So I price the unknown.
Wow.
I use the psychology of money to say yes. So after I make an investment with a founder, I'll take him out, a drink, a coffee, and I'll tell him, look, I'm pretty sure Preqin, Carta, Angelus did not have your pre-seed round at this valuation. You're probably hoping for a 10, 12, 15. But I want you to know is because of that price, I said yes and didn't tell you, come back to me later. I use the psychology of money to say yes. That's what I do. I don't think a lot of firms can do that. They're too big, right? They can't write small checks. They don't have the bandwidth. And they're all so dependent on LPs liking their patterns that they start becoming the same. And so this is, I think, more of a structural question you're asking, Brian. Like, how do we rethink the structure? Because at some level, venture is broken mostly because the cost of discovering new talent is too high for most people. So it makes no sense.
And you mean by most people, it's the VCs that are following the LPs kind of a push?
I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, very few funds discover new talent, right? Just in general, as a percent of dollar. And the few that do don't know how to price it to make it make sense. So what do you naturally do? You look for things that are more recognizable. Could be Stanford. It could be the job that you worked at. But those first rounds of capital are not happening at $3 to $5 million valuation. They're happening at 13 to 15, sometimes 20. So what does that mean? You got to be right bigger. You got to write a bigger check for that same 10%. All of a sudden, the economics of a venture start to make less sense. And then you really, really need that $25, $50 billion company to make any sense. And so I think what we actually have is, in the last 15, 20 years, is venture has evolved into an industry where really, really successful people start funds. Well, all their friends are really successful too, and start betting on them. So price goes up. And that's the familiarity tax I talk about a lot, right? If you recognize them, you have to pay a premium. If you can't recognize them, you might, if you get comfortable, be able to bet on people that no one knows. Oh,
God, this is so good. Mala, you're over there shaking your head.
Yeah,
this is resonating with you.
I love it. I love the way you think. It's awesome. And that's the reason I asked you where you're born in this country is because I'm raising boys in this country, born here. And you're saying, well, they're like, in a fishbowl where, you just don't know how great it is here. And I worry about that for my children. But, one of the reasons I think we immigrants succeed is because our risk tolerance is so high, right? I had nothing to lose. I have no ancestry of people who went to Harvard and Stanford and made $1 billion, that any little success is celebrated. And so I can, when I wanted to start the venture firm, what's the chance that I fail? I'm sure there is a very high chance of failure. But what happens if I fail? Nothing happens if I fail. I go pick myself up and find another job, right? It's like a badge of honor if you start a company in the Valley and you fail. If you start a venture firm and you fail, it's going to be a bigger badge of honor, so I'm going to do it. There's no dad and mom breathing down my neck. There's no ancestry of success. And, the money, we lived on so little as children in India. We own a home in Palo Alto. We have a garbage truck that picks up our trash on Tuesday mornings, and there's running hot water in the pipes. Can you believe it? The public schools are free and the children are getting
That's
A+
the gratitude
education.
you have. Yeah.
I am grateful. I don't need anything more. All I need is food, and I'm vegetarian and it's cheap. Then what? What do I need money for? To go and work again at Google and Meta? I'm going to try running a venture firm. And that's the immigrant mentality, right? And that's what's missing, I think, for people born and raised here. Because all of a sudden you have that fat, cushy paycheck. And fortunately or unfortunately, women have that. We have the cushion and layer of men supporting us because we come married to the country. Many of us, I didn't. I was lucky in that sense that I didn't. I came all by myself with a suitcase and a $50K student loan, and that's what you need. You need a kick in the ass. And women don't get that. As late as the 70s, women were not allowed to open bank accounts in the United States without a male co-signer.
Wow.
So it's in the heritage of the country, but it's much worse in the rest of the world, and it still is that way in many countries. You just can't run a business, you can't get a divorce, you can't rent a piece of property, you can't buy equipment. How would you run a business? You can't take a loan, right, without a male co-signer. But now then, we become used to it as a civilization that men are going to be in that supportive role, and so women never break away unless they somehow, get kicked out of the country like I did by my own parents, or they get a divorce, which can be a very good thing for a lot of women because now they're finally like an immigrant, right? But I think that's the mindset that we're trying to teach our women founders when they join, saying, and that's why I tell them to team up with a man. If it feels safe for you, maybe you'll do better. Mm-hmm. Be number 2, it's okay. You don't have to be number 1 just yet. Be number 2 and be a founder and try it out. Okay, next company you can be number 1, which is what I did, honestly, right? Whatever it takes, build wealth. So that the next generation, the people who come after us, will look at us and say, okay, those women did it. Maybe I can do even better than what they did. And if that's all you've done, it's still worth it.
That's so good.
I mean, what I'm hearing is, full stop, think like an immigrant.
Think like, I love it.
Right? Like there's something, again, whether you're first generation or fourth generation, everyone in this country has a story about thinking like an immigrant.
Yeah.
And can you draw that resource?
And I'm hearing adversity is kind of like the bell cow. The cowbell? Bell cow? Anyway, but whatever has taught you that resilience or taught you that gratitude and given you both sides of the perspective of passion, because passion really has pain and pleasure built in. Go ahead, and then we'll go.
And what does adversity teach you? Right? It teaches you resilience. Mm-hmm. It also teaches you self-belief. And so if you don't, like Jensen Huang said it really well at Stanford GSB a few years ago, right? I hope you suffer.
Yes. I remember when he said, that was such a great moment.
There's something really powerful that the human condition gets when they suffer. They have a choice. Do they keep on languishing in that suffering? Or do they pull themselves up, learn from it, and then attempt to change the suffering the next time it happens? Because it's going to happen again. You're going to fail again. It's going to be hard, right? There's so much you can learn from any religious text as well, right? You can learn about the conditions that make a human a human. And if you can build your tolerance and your capacity to handle it, you're probably on the pathway towards greatness in the way that we would all define it. But again, if you're somebody who left your home country, you probably have been tested more than anybody else because you left all your family, all your friends, and entered Stanford, probably knowing nobody, with an IOU that she's got to return.
And surrounded by Nobel laureates.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah.
Step it up.
Yeah, no pressure.
Go big or go home.
All right. Brian, okay, can you, let our little friend in the door. All right. My favorite moment. All right. Stack Ventures is transforming real estate into full stack ecosystem solutions for the East Bay, residency and global startups. Backed by Baring Capital, located in the heart of uptown Oakland at 1900 Broadway and 1950 Franklin. Stack Space has 2 towers, actually now 3, but I'll tell you about that in a moment. 2 towers with over 1.6 million square feet of luxury living, event space, royal style, resort style amenities, and EV mobility, office space, and access to one of the biggest startup communities in the Bay Area. Check out stackspace.com. That's STAK, stackspace.com, and connect with me and my buddy Colin Baring on LinkedIn. So, want to learn more about that? We're doing a ton of events over there. Very good. Thanks, Brian.
Did I cut you off early?
No, that was perfect.
I also brought up that Jensen Huang clip. I mean, do we want to hear some of that? I'm interested, actually.
Yeah, let's try it.
Am I going the wrong direction on that?
No, tee it up.
It's about 1 minute.
You should choose your career based on your passion. And usually people connect passion with happiness. Nothing there is wrong, but there's something missing. And the reason for that is because when you want to build something great, it's not easy to do. And when you're doing something that's not easy to do, you're not always enjoying it. I don't love every day of my job. I don't think every day brings me joy, nor does joy have to be the definition of a good day. And every day I'm not happy. Every year I'm not happy about the company. But I love the company every single second. And so I think that what people misunderstand is somehow the best jobs are the one that brings you happiness all the time. I don't think that that's right. You have to suffer, you have to struggle, You have to endeavor. You have to do those hard things and work through it in order to really appreciate what you've done.
That's
Anyway,
so good. Yeah.
I think it's fascinating stuff, right? And I think everybody kind of knows this from a like an academic standpoint, but then when you're in the middle of it and you're suffering, you think, how do I get out of this immediately?
Yeah.
Right? Or how do I avoid this the next time?
Elon Musk said it as well, right? You don't want to be in his head. It is not a fun place to be, right? It feels like he's chewing glass and jumping off hills or mountains all the time, because it's really, really painful to do hard things, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's a certain tolerance or adversity muscle that I think it takes, right? And that's the power of an adversity muscle that I think Jensen's talking about, and I think even Mala's talking about, right? Like, you got to have it. It also simplifies your life, right? You don't need a lot of things all of a sudden if your purpose is clear to you, as Jensen just talked about, right?
Yeah.
All the fringe stuff goes away.
Yeah. And I think that goes to this idea of emotional intelligence, where there's structure when adversity happens. You know it's for something. It's like the workout. I don't think anyone loves the workout, but they love the feeling that comes from it. They love the results. They love the lifestyle. But pain is never fun. It's like Jensen was saying, it's not fun. It's not oftentimes enjoyable. We do get those runner highs from the exercise. But yet, if you can't endure the negative, then you're not going to achieve the outcome. And so I always, and I'll ask both of you this question. I love asking this question to everybody. When you're looking to invest in founders, you look for passion. And passion is not just the feel good. Passion is understanding the pain and the pleasure. So the question becomes, why do you love doing what you do? Because love doesn't always feel good. You just keep doing it because this is what you were designed to do on some level. Mm-hmm. So I ask both of you, Mal, I'll start with you. What is it about what you're doing that you love so much?
Love is something very different than what I feel towards work. So I'm kind of like mulling over it ever since I heard you say it the very first time, saying, why do you love doing? Well, I love doing what I'm doing because it's making a difference in people's lives, clearly, and it's working and it's effortless. If it was really hard, I wouldn't do it. Like fundraising for the Fund 1 has been fairly effortless. In a year, we got to 12 million. And then, the nonprofit, I don't put in a lot into it. There's no sweat. It's just like kind of growing. And therefore, I will continue doing it. It's like riding a bike in a very comfortable pace feeling. You're balancing. It's a little bit of effort, but not so hard. But love is not what I associate with it. Somehow, love is what I feel for my husband and children and things that are creative more than like making with my hands. But this is touching people's lives and changing lives, which is more a passion. And it's not joyous like what Jensen's saying every single day. Sometimes it's painful, especially when you tell founders, this is just not going to work. I don't think I'm going to fund you, and I don't think anybody would fund you, and maybe you should go back to work. Sometimes I say that, right? Yeah. You just don't have it, so don't waste your life. And you have to iterate over ideas, and if it's not a fit, you should change. You should continue changing, even if it's working. And the same thing even for larger companies that we invest in. If I'm not seeing them pivot and try and grow, then it's a scary signal. And those feel like strenuous moments where there isn't a lot of love. There's just a lot of passion and fear and anxiety and all those other feelings too. And so I don't know if love is the right adjective to use around it.
I love how you wrestled with that. I love it. And then you lit up, when you talked about your family, there was a bigger light than the previous light of what you're doing. So I love that reflection. That's what I'm after. I love it. Manan, same question. I'm still going to ask, what is it that you love about what you do?
So when I think about the word love, what comes to me is the feeling of no mind. When I can be fully engaged in something and not be caught in my head, but I'm in my body and I'm doing it. There's an alignment of purpose, energy, and maybe ikigai is like a word that you hear a lot of. And I get that feeling a lot in my profession. I get it with my kids. I get it with my partner. My wife, my parents, friends, when I'm dancing, right? I get that feeling. And I think that's a feeling of being fully present in a moment, right? Like when my brain can shut off and I'm just here with you. Yeah. That to me is my love. And, there's I'll show you this. This is kind of on my phone, that's a photo of me at 8 years old.
That's your screensaver.
Screensaver.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
And I recently put that as my background because for a long time, through a lot of the coaching and therapy work that I've done, I would always look back at that kid and tell him stories of, I'm sorry you went through that. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Right? That kid was in 1992, a token Indian kid in Sunnyvale, was made fun of a lot, et cetera, right? And so it was in one of my sessions recently that I was talking to my coach about this. And he's like, look, Manan, maybe that guy's been teaching you something your whole life. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's been teaching me. I'm trying to help him out. He's like, look, your whole life, you've been that guy that on the blacktop, you're picking the person first that everyone else will pick last. You won a national title dancing with a bunch of guys that couldn't dance, right? You did that in sports your whole life. You've been picking people around you that give you safety and security. Is it possible that guy's been teaching you how to do it? Because he was so hurt by those that he couldn't trust. He's been teaching the skill of being with people and trusting them. Mm. That to me is a definition of love. It was 35 years, 37 years of pain. Mm-hmm. And I had the wrong narrative the whole time, that I was helping him. And then all of a sudden, now that he's in the back of my screen, he's helping me, right? And I get that for my profession. Yeah. I get to bet on people and go, I feel this person will do something great, and I'll be wrong, right? That's going to happen a lot because circumstances shift. But again, I think this is why I love my profession so much, because I get to do it with him, the 8-year-old version of me.
I love that because I can't agree more. I mean, my kids have taught me more in life than anything else. Like, they remind you of curiosity. They remind you of kindness. They remind you of patience and love and all these things. And you can almost say that as well as your inner self, that little 10-year-old self that wants to come back out and is teaching you things in life. Again, how to be patient, how to be creative. Because when you say being in that place where you're just at peace and creative, there's no better experience than that.
We call it flow state.
We call it flow, yeah.
We call it flow, right? Like, you've seen it in sports a lot. But I hope that everyone, some point every week, finds their moment of flow in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because that is the most human, like, joyful moment you'll ever have. But just know that's going to be intermixed with a lot of hard stuff to get there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So we're getting close to the end of the show, and I always like to ask my guests as a last question, what's next for you? And of course, how can people connect with you? So Mala, I'll start with you. What's next for you?
Well, the next is for me to bridge that gap, right? Where the nonprofit is like churning out these companies, how do we get them to be venture scale so I can invest in them and get the other investors to actually notice this and continue to invest so that they become the next generation of billionaires? That's what my next is. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
What's the name of your community again?
Founders Creative.
Is there a website too for that?
Founderscreative.org. It was named by a community of a few hundred people on a Sunday morning on a WhatsApp.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So check that out online. I'm sure, Brian, you're bringing that up at some point.
Working on it.
Founderscreative.org or .ai. Either would work.
Great. And LinkedIn is the best way to connect with you.
Yes.
Wonderful. Manan, what's next for you?
I get the really enviable position of doing what I love to round this all out, right? Mm-hmm. Not to violate any SEC rules, I'm raising the next fund. It's not a solicitation, but I'm doing that. But the goal is ultimately to see if we can deploy $1 billion in 1,000 to 2,000 day zero immigrant founders over the next 10 years, right? Because I think if we do, I will take that $1 billion pool against anything else you want to create with $1 billion. And I'm pretty confident we'll outperform, right? Because we are at a very important time historically, and I think we have to build a new operating muscle to survive. So I get to do that for a living, so I'm really lucky.
Well, I love it. I love what you both are doing, and I could continue this conversation all day long with both of you. So keep doing what you're doing. You're both welcome back anytime. So I'm, again, so thankful for you being here today. Once again,
Thank
appreciate
you. I really
here.
enjoyed it.
So much fun. Thank you.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for today. Another great show, great people.
Indeed it was. Thank you all. And I just want to remind people that if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, please. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, click follow and tell your friends.
I love
Thanks,
it.
Brian.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
take care. We'll see you next week within your own.